When it comes to Ken Paxton, the voters in Texas cannot have missed how bad a human he is. And by the way, John Cornyn dumped tens of millions of dollars in ads, reinforcing all those ways. So he was impeached by his own party, which is astounding. He was the Attorney General. His own staff reported him to the FBI for malfeasance in office.
By the way, Mona, wasn't Chip Roy one of those people?
I believe that may be right. I'm not sure about that.
Yeah, he was on his staff. I think he was.
Okay, so right. So he's been guilty of bribery, charged with bribery, misuse of office. He certainly had a very ugly divorce where his wife accused him of biblical something or others. I don't know exactly what that means.
The only biblical thing he's ever been accused of.
I don't know. Did he? Yeah, maybe he. I don't know. Did he sacrifice a goat on the wrong day or something? But anyway, he
sacrificed a goat. The goat was John Cornyn. But sorry, continue.
Right. And there's a lot more. There's so much more in the realm of corruption and misuse of office. And then, of course, he led the charge on the fake election. The election was stolen stuff, filing suits, alleging, that other states' votes should not be counted. He's just a nightmare of a human and hated by even the most MAGA people in his own party. Okay, Trump endorsed him over John Cornyn, who would clearly have walked away with the general election. No problem. And, so you think that's not so clear?
The polling was not clear on that. However, if you factor in that the polls probably overestimated Tallarico's performance, given that the nasty primary was going on the Republican side. If you factor that in, it would have definitely moved to Cornyn's side.
Okay, well, I was thinking of all of those matchup polling, which is, they're not very useful, but they give you a flavor. And it always showed that Cornyn would beat Tallarico, but it didn't show that Cornyn Paxton could. Well, anyway, but Trump endorsed Cornyn. What do you think? Is there any charitable interpretation of the Republican primary voters who chose Paxton?
I don't think there's a charitable interpretation. Well, first of all, let me stipulate. John Cornyn gave a charitable interpretation on election night. He said these people voted for change. They wanted to, that's all. They voted for change. And that is always a plausible explanation. People show up, they don't like the way things are. Here's the incumbent, I'm going to vote against him. You're turning out in a runoff. That probably means you're particularly interested. You're not just pulling the lever. You decided to come out and vote for somebody. So maybe less charitable there. But the point that Cornyn made about the people who did turn out was that he said they only constituted 8% of the electorate. Now you factor out Democrats, independents, whatnot. So a lot of people stayed home. And it may be that what we had in the runoff was, this residual constituency of really hardcore MAGA people, so that you can fault more the people who stayed home, and whereas the MAGA people who showed up, they're, I don't want to say unsalvageable, but that you weren't going to get their votes for the right thing anyway.
So that's so interesting. And, it is revealing, isn't it, that if you look at the vote numbers of the first round of voting before the runoff, and then you look at the numbers for the runoff, Paxton got the exact same number of votes both times. Mm-hmm. So if it was not for the fall off in voters who came out and voted for Hunt and Cornyn first time out, you wouldn't have had that result. So it is those hardcore MAGA people who came out for Paxton the first time and stuck with him for the second time. But then the other voters just went away into the